A man who was driving his motorcycle starts to walk alongside a car. Inside the car, a couple argue. The boyfriend fights with his girlfriend because he's tired of her not responding to her texts and calls. The woman says she was cooking and that's why she hadn't seen the messages. The woman tries to understand why her boyfriend was saying that, but before that, the man who was on the motorcycle kisses her. The woman is in shock and paralyzes for a second. The biker tells her to call him and the boyfriend shouts, angry at the situation, and asks what was the justification that the girlfriend had for that, but the woman says she doesn't know the man. The boyfriend asks how that had happened, but the woman does not know how to explain. The man is outraged inside the car and said he would go after that man on the motorcycle to take satisfaction. When the man gets off the motorcycle, the boyfriend gets out of the car very angry and the woman tries to calm him down, but the boyfriend wants to understand that. The boyfriend goes up to the other man and asks where he knew his girlfriend from. The boyfriend also asks how that guy had the audacity to kiss her in front of her. The man said that he had misunderstood because he heard them saying that they had ended the relationship. The man kisses the woman again and this leaves the boyfriend outraged. The boyfriend questions the woman to find out if she was cheating on him, but the other man tells the boyfriend that he didn't know that woman. The man says he only kissed her because he thought they were over, and that way, he thought she was single and he might try dating her. A boyfriend is left speechless and the man asks if they really broke up, but this only makes the boyfriend more indignant. The boyfriend turns to the woman and says that he doesn't want to see her anymore and that their relationship is over. The woman doesn't understand and asks the man not to leave, but he doesn't listen. The man tries to comfort the woman and tells her not to mind. The woman asks who that man was and why he had done all that. She says they broke up because of him. The man tells the woman that he had saved her from a bad relationship because he watched the couple argue. He tells her that he did it to help her sort out their relationship. The woman doesn't understand, as the man had kissed her, caused the end of their relationship and seemed to be asking her for money. The man tells her that, as he was a psychologist, he had noticed the problem in their relationship. The man says that he has a very good technique and he knows that in a few seconds she will receive a call from her ex-boyfriend. The cell phone starts ringing and the woman is in disbelief. She keeps looking at the man, trying to understand. She decides to answer the call and the ex-boyfriend apologizes to her, saying he was just very stressed. They begin to understand each other again, but the man takes the cell phone from the woman, saying that she was giving in too much, and hangs up the call. The woman starts to get desperate, but the man says that she couldn't do that and that she needed to let her ex-boyfriend go after her. The woman says that the ex-boyfriend was already apologizing to her, but the man asks her to take it slow and let the ex-boyfriend get worried, because that would make him appreciate the woman again. He told her that, as she wanted to win back her ex-boyfriend's love, he would teach her if she paid him. The woman thinks about it, while he tries to convince her. The woman says her ex-boyfriend was worth a try, so the man tells her where he lives and asks her to follow him. But the man says she couldn't do that and that she needed to let her ex-boyfriend go after her. The woman says that the ex-boyfriend was already apologizing to her, but the man asks her to take it slow and let the ex-boyfriend get worried, because that would make him appreciate the woman again. Later, he arrived at the man's house, and he says that was the place he took his clients so he could teach them what he knew. Later, the man says he was very proud of the progress she was making. He says that she had already taken the first step, which was to love yourself, and that was very important. He then asks her if, after everything she had been through, she was ready to talk to her boyfriend again. She thinks for a moment and says she was prepared for that. The man then congratulates the woman and tells her that she should always remember that she was the most important person in the world to her. He said that she should always keep that in mind, and so the woman takes out her phone and calls her boyfriend. She then calls her boyfriend and her boyfriend says he missed her so much. He said he was trying to call her but he couldn't. And then asks her where she was. She then says that she called so they could talk and then asks if they could meet. He says yes and asks where it could be. She says that she could go to the man's house and he is very happy about that and says that he was looking forward to seeing her again. He says he missed her a lot and that he liked her a lot. She then says that she loved him too and hangs up the phone. The man then asks if she had arranged the meeting and she says yes. The woman then says that it was a beautiful place and then the man starts to say that he needed to show her something very important. He then tells her to look in the mirror. He then asks her what she could see when she looked in the mirror. She says she can see both and then the man says he knew she could see that but that she needed to focus more on her. He then asks what she saw when she looked in the mirror. She then doesn't know what to say and tells the man that when she looked in the mirror, she saw someone she wouldn't want to see. He then asks her if she liked the person she saw looking in the mirror and she says no. He says that was the problem and that they needed to get her to see someone she liked. He says that only then could she move forward and that they would be able to make her see her qualities. He says that only then would she be able to go back to being the person she was and that she should focus more on the qualities she had. Later, they were at a gym and the man tells the woman that now she would learn a great lesson for her life. He then says that she should be wondering why they were there, and she says that she was very curious. He says that now she would learn to fight for the person she loved. She, then, is surprised by that and says that she was not a person to fight with others, but the man says that now she would have to do that in order to get her love back. She then gets desperate and says that she didn't want to fight with anyone, but the man reassures her and says that she wouldn't need to fight with anyone else. He then says that the only person she will have to battle that day is herself against herself. She is then surprised and asks how the man had that photo, as it was from a long time ago. He then starts saying that that photo showed how happy she was and that she should go back to being that person and that she would have to fight for that to happen. He then says that they had already talked about it and says that she should leave the person she was now behind and focus on the person she wanted to be, so that she could get her love back. He tells her that she should fight the person she was and that would make her happy again. The woman then tells the man that she didn't want to battle herself, but he said it was necessary. He tells her that she should fight the person she was, because the only problem he could see was herself. She then throws a punch and the man says she should punch harder. She then continues to punch the photo and the man tells her to keep up the good work. He says that, for her to be able to let go of the past, she should beat what she didn't do, she would be happy and that would make her happy again. She then proceeds to punch the photo harder and the man congratulates her, saying she was doing well. After she finishes, the man says that she had done very well and says that for her to be able to let go of the past, she should go against what would not make her happy. He then asks her how she was feeling at that moment. She said that, after all, she could feel better. At that moment, the woman asks the man why he was alone, since he seemed to know a lot about love. He then becomes uncomfortable with that question and says that they were already finished and that she could leave. She doesn't understand what had happened, but doesn't say anything. Some time passes and the woman goes to her boyfriend's house, and then she greets him. He then gets very excited about it and asks her to sit next to him. She sits down next to her boyfriend and he hugs her, saying he missed her so much. She says that all that time she was thinking about how she could make the man happy. She said after all that time, she had just forgotten about herself. He then asks what she was talking about and she says that all the time they had been together, she was thinking about how she could make the man happy, but that she wasn't thinking about her own happiness. He then tells her that she was still the love of his life, but she says that he didn't understand what she was saying. She then tells her boyfriend that now she wants to do whatever it takes to be happy. He asks what she was talking about, and then she says that now she wanted to focus all her strength on having her own happiness. She says that after all that time when she had done everything for her boyfriend's happiness, it made her forget her own happiness, and that was wrong. She then tells her boyfriend that now she wanted to find out who she really was and what love really meant to her. The man then starts to say that they could do that together, and he apologizes to her, saying that he would never treat her badly again, but she says that he couldn't do that for her and that only she could do that for her. She says she expected the man to be happy, but that they could no longer be together and that their relationship was over. Later, she goes to the man and then he asks, how was her date, and asks if she had recovered the love of her life. She smiles and says that he knew that she had regained her love. She says that she had broken up with her boyfriend and that she now understood that she was the love of her life. She says that all that was missing in her life was understanding that self-love was the most important thing and that the man had made her realize that. He then tells her that she would not lose contact with him as she had asked him a very important question. He says he knew he loved himself, but he was really looking forward to someone he could love too. He says that now, finally, he had managed to find that person.